Green beans? Please. And mac and cheese.
Ms. LaRouche, seconded by Ms. Chabot, moves that the House A recognize that elderly were most directly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. B, recall that too many of the elderly live in financially precarious positions. C, acknowledge the collective debt that we owe to those who built Quebec and Canada. And D, ask the government in its next budget to increase old age security benefits by $110 a month for those aged 65 and more. The Honourable Member for Shefford.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to start by saying I'll be sharing my time with the Honourable Member for Thérèse de Blainville. It's with a great deal of emotion that I rise today to speak to the Bloc Québécois motion. We are urging the House to note that seniors have been most directly affected by COVID-19. B, remind the House that too many seniors are living in financial hardship. C, acknowledge the collective debt that we owe to those who built Quebec and Canada. And D, ask the government in its next budget to increase the old age security benefit by $110 a month for those aged 65 and more. I'd like to remind you the reason why I'm addressing this important issue this morning with such conviction, because before I was elected, I worked as a project manager to raise awareness against elder abuse in my region. So on a daily basis, I tried to improve the quality of life for seniors and even go farther. That is to say, to aim for good treatment. I quickly understood that there was a direct link between a precarious financial situation and the vulnerability that unfortunately too often results from it. As the first speaker on this important motion, I'll address it from three angles, starting with the precarious financial situation that was present long before the pandemic. Then how the crisis has exacerbated problems, and I'll conclude by recalling the Bloc Québécois' long-term work to improve seniors' buying power. I'd like to remind you that we are not the only ones in the Bloc Québécois to have recognized the need to correct these disparities. In 2019, the Liberals themselves promised during an election campaign, looking seniors straight in the face, to increase by 10% old age security benefits starting at age 75. They reiterated their commitment to increase benefits in the throne speech in September 2020, but it's been radio silence since. Nothing's been done. In any case, we consider this proposal insufficient and that it unfairly creates two classes of seniors, because poverty doesn't take 75 years to come into play. So let's now...
Speaker, and I want to thank the member for her speech. We see a lot of each other virtually on committee, so it's nice to interact in the House as well with her. So I just had a question again, like my previous Conservative colleague did earlier today, just regarding tax increases. We know that the Prime Minister increased the carbon tax during the pandemic, and I live in and I represent a rural riding. And I've had lots of seniors comment to me about how they're on a fixed income and now home heating, groceries, fuel for their vehicle, which they have to use to get to doctor's appointments, etc., has gone up. So I'm just wondering if the member supports tax increases that this Liberal government has done, and if she sees the need for lower taxes.
The
Honourable Member for Thérèse de Blainville. Yes, I'd be pleased to answer that question for my colleague that I sit with in committee. I'm not sure the question is immediately relevant to what I spoke about, but I think, taxes do allow the government to have revenue that fund social programs and to redistribute some of the money. And I think that's really what we're talking about today. How do we make sure that seniors get their fair share? Because these seniors did pay taxes throughout their lifetimes. And so they should benefit from these programs.